guys, it's Fletch. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about what to do to get a company slash corporation to do the right thing during bad economic times, even though they don't want to. So stick around, we'll be right back and I'll give you all the details. All right, guys, thanks. And for those of you who have been longtime watchers of the account, we've been around for about 10 years now, off and on. How do you like the new intro and the outro? Post below and tell me what you think about it. Don't worry, you're not going to hurt my feelings. It's a little bit shorter, so let me know. All right, so let's get to it. What I wanted to tell you guys about today was a customer experience that I had recently. Hopefully, you'll be able to see by the end of this video that while it's not my intention to drag this company's name through the mud because they repeatedly dropped the ball through this whole process, they ultimately did do the right thing, number one, but also number two, that this is something that could very easily be of value to a lot of y'all out there, because as I'm recording this is January of 2023. The economy's not very good right now. Everyone's downsizing, companies are starting to lay off, and they're all looking to save money wherever they can. So one of the first things they always do when things like that comes is they make it harder to get refunds. They make it harder to do warranty returns and things like that to save money. Basically, what they're doing is they're creating resistance, right? They're making it harder for you because if they still have plausible deniability at that point, right? They're not coming right out and saying they're not gonna cover it, but they're just gonna make it really difficult for you to do it and make you keep pushing and make you keep prodding them to get them to do the right thing. So without further ado, go ahead and jump in. So the company I'm talking about today is LL Flooring, formerly known as Lumber Liquidators. I would assume, LL Flooring is for Lumber Liquidators, LL. Back in 2019, we bought a waterproof flooring product from them. It was their Corelux 5mm series. It comes in 12 by 24 sections, and it's kind of a snap lock thing that you put together with a rubber mallet, and you have to have a special underlayment for it and everything, but it's supposed to be completely 100% waterproof with a lifetime guarantee. I think the product was called Venice Beach. Kind of an interesting thing in and of itself is that doing the research for this video to make sure that I was getting as many of the facts correct as possible, I logged into my account on their website and my order history is completely gone. So I had to call the local store and have them look it up in their local system, and I was able to get the details for you there. But again, it's the Corelux Venice Beach, and it's the 12 by 24. So it's it's not the long thin ones. It's a wider, shorter plank for each one. And also, guys, kind of a interesting factoid, take it for what it's worth. As the saying goes, a very wise man who once walked the earth said, "Don't listen to what people say, rather watch what they do." Very loosely paraphrased, I get it, but that's what it meant. When I go back to the website and I'm trying to pull up my order history so I can tell you guys what this product is or show you what this product is, it's completely scrubbed from their system. So in addition to all of my order history, and there were more than one order in there from other flooring projects that we had done in the house over the years, absolutely nothing is there, and there's no record that this product ever existed. Even when I called the local store to find out what the name of the product was so that I could tell you guys, I asked them, I was like, well, hey, has this been reclassified? Is there some other way to find or access this product? And it was like, it wasn't even listed as discontinued. It was just like it was gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Call that what you will, but so if you're wondering why I'm not showing you what the product is or what it looked like or whatever, that's why I had to send them the last box to have it sent to the independent lab. So that's gone, and so the pictures of the floor deteriorating that I'm rolling in here is all that there is left. We installed that back in 2019. Well, about a year after we had this product installed, we started noticing that the part of the planks or the tiles that had the finish on them started delaminating or pulling apart from the rest of the flooring. And it, it started just a little bit and here, there, whatever, so we're keeping an eye on it. Like, okay, is this a bad thing? So anyways, quite some time passes, probably about a year, and now we're seeing that there's lots of it, the tiles where the corners are peeling up. And we put this in the entryway coming into our house, in our kitchen, and in our hall bathroom. In all three areas, it's doing the same thing. Some places worse than others, but it's doing the same thing in all three areas. Well, when it started to get really bad, that's when, the C19 stuff was happening. And yeah, I'm not going to say that because then this video is going to get flagged by AI and all of that. But anyways, I did go so far actually to at that time to attempt to file a claim on it. I called the local store, explained the situation, and the guy gave me an 800 number. And I thought it was a bit foreboding at the time, and it ended up being true. And he was like, well, good luck with that. I was like, well, that's kind of a strange thing to wish a customer. So I called, and there was no way to speak to a human being. Basically, it was leave a message and we'll get back to you. So of course I left a message, never heard from them. I even tried emailing them, and I did the whole, I carbon copied it to myself to prove that I'd mailed it to them, going through all of the normal steps that you would go through. Well, the health scare thing is going on, so call centers aren't staffed, no one's providing customer service, it just was what it was. So about 2 months ago, and remember this is January 2023, about 2 months ago or so, and guys understand I'm terrible with dates and times half the time, just because I don't care, that's just the way my brain works. Half the time I don't even know how old I actually am, because it's like, who cares? Around 2 months ago, there's like, okay, well, things are getting back to normal again, let me try to start this process over again. And so I called, and I was finally able to talk to someone, and I made a claim. Well, so then they asked me for my email address. We started emailing back and forth, and I finally got, and part of that process was I had to submit pictures, and I'll start rolling them in here as B footage while I'm talking, so you can see what I'm talking about. And you can see, that these vinyl tiles just completely fell apart. They're completely delaminating, coming apart, and, just completely breaking down. Our floor looked atrocious, and we had to live with this for, a couple of years with the whole health scare thing that was going on and everything. And I didn't want to take it out, because once I had done that, I may have been sacrificing my ability to file a claim. Because as is typical in a situation like this, they may want to send someone out to do an inspection to make sure that the product was installed properly, which of course it was. But if I would have replaced it before that, then I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. Maybe. So I sent in the pictures and everything, and they said, okay, well, the next step in this process is you need to send us a box of whatever tile you have left over, so that we can send it to a quote-unquote independent lab. It's their lab, the lab they're using. So independent lab, who knows? And, and of course I said something about it. I was like, well, I don't really agree that this is an independent lab, because it's a lab that you picked and you're sending it to. Maybe, me sending it to my lab and you paying the bill for it or something might be a little bit more equitable. But, who knows? I send in the thing, it comes back, and it's 2 or 3 weeks later. The gal calls me back, and we're having a conversation. And she says, no, there's nothing wrong with the product. The lab tested it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's something you did on your end. I'm like, well, look at the pictures. This stuff is completely falling apart. No, I'm sorry. There's clearly something wrong here. And you're just trying to cover your fourth point of contact, and you don't want to pay out the claim on this. I finally got to the point where I just had to come right out and say that, because I'm always polite and professional with people when I start out talking to them. I always treat people the way that I would want to be treated if I were in that situation starting out. As I'm talking to this gal, she says, well, and on top of that, I could tell that she was getting coaching from someone. So, okay, Well, Fletch, that's a broad statement. How do you know that? Because I used to be a coach in a call center. And the way that you could know if someone's getting coaching from someone while they're talking to you is normally you can hear all the background noise. And when you're working in a call center, you have both a mute button and a hold button. When you get put on hold, you can hear, the on hold music or recording loop, whatever. When they're just talking to their coach or their manager, the supervisor in the call center, you know that's happening because you can no longer hear all the background noise, all the muffled talking of people in the background. You can't hear that anymore. I knew that she was getting coaching from someone. These people start telling me that the reason why this 100% waterproof product failed was because of water damage. and when the gal told me this, I was just dumbfounded. I was like, I didn't even know what to say. And finally the gal was like, are you there? And I was like, well, yeah. I said, honestly, I'm just dumbfounded that you even said that. And at that point, I think, they kind of figured out that I wasn't naive or, whatever they thought or whatever they were trying to do at that point. As the old saying goes, I don't have to be able to read your mind to see where you're trying to take this conversation type thing, because of what you're doing, right? And so I'm like, so you literally just told me that the reason why this 100% lifetime guaranteed waterproof product failed was from water damage. Yep. And so I was like, okay, well, obviously, we're going to have to agree to disagree at this point. And I said, but I'm just telling you right now, my next step is I'm going to file a complaint against you with the Attorney General's office in my state. You can deal with them because, this is ridiculous at this point. This is clearly a defective product. You're just you're doing everything you can to not stand behind your product. Long story short, I get on the state's website, file a complaint against them. It's 2 or 3 weeks later, emailing back and forth with a gal who got assigned to my case. And I finally get a call from someone in Virginia. I guess, that's probably where their Lumber Liquidators headquarters is. And a guy calls and says, hey, this is so-and-so from Lumber Liquidators. We got your demand letter and we want to make contact with you and make things right. So I was like, okay, cool. So I talked to the guy and he's all like, well, yeah, we decided that we're just going to cut our losses on this. It's not worth taking this to court. And, we're just going to pay out the claim. It's less than $1,000, which is, from my experience in the corporate world, what they should have done to begin with, right? All I was asking for was a refund of a purchase price. I wasn't asking for compensation for my time installing it or other materials that I had to use in order to do it, things like that. All I was asking for was the refund for the cost of the product. The guy says, well, we'd be happy to give you store credit. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in store credit. I've seen all I want to see of your company, and I've already bought another product to replace this with, and I'm not going to use you, so can you please just send me a check? Long story short, they expeditiously sent me a check, so good job there. We were able to get the product replaced. The moral of the story here, guys, is don't take no for an answer. If it's something painfully obvious like this, and I'll roll in some more pictures of the flooring here, and you can, just to reemphasize what we're talking about here, clearly a defective product. Times are tough. They don't want to pay out claims, whatever. Do what you have to do. And sometimes that includes calling your state's Attorney General's office because they're clearly not standing behind a product. There are resources that are out there and that are available that are paid for by the taxpayers. So you're paying for it in a way, right? But no cost immediately out of pocket to get help and representation to help you deal with these corporations that have trained and coached people that are talking to you and or attorneys that are dealing with all of this. The paralegals or the attorneys in your state's Attorney General office, typically speaking, as long as it's a real legit matter, usually are more than willing to help you out with stuff like this. They're pretty much slam dunks as soon as they see that you've got someone with clout behind you, right? You're not a naive consumer. They'll just pay up, so to speak, just do what they should have done in the beginning, right? And this never would have happened, and I wouldn't even be making this video right now had they done the right thing in the beginning and just paid out the claim like they should have. So in closing, guys, just remember, you know, there are other things. Guys, also understand, I don't typically do negative reviews on products or companies like this. However, the reason why I'm doing this is because this is a trend that I'm seeing. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing a couple more videos about some other experiences and the steps I had to take to get the company to do the right thing as well. If you enjoy stuff like that and learning about things like that, by all means, please subscribe. If you've got value from this video, please hit the like button. Hit the like button, if you would, please. We'd greatly appreciate it. It really does help. And thank you for your time today. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. And as always, until next time, we'll see you then.